Welcome back to the channel, Who Dat Nation. Before we dive into some massive roster moves today, I want to give you guys a shout out and show some love to the best fan base in the NFL. Comment your name and the city you are representing down below, and I might just feature you in our next video. We want to see how far the New Orleans Saints reach goes across the world. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update on our boys in black and gold. WHAWHHAWHAW. We have some absolute bombshell news coming out of the Big Easy today that is going to have the entire NFL world and even the professional wrestling world doing a double take. New Orleans Saints fans, you better buckle up because the front office is making some aggressive moves as we head into the thick of the offseason program. We're talking about a brand new addition to the roster that brings a pedigree of intensity, strength, and pure athleticism that is quite frankly legendary. But with every gain, there is often a loss. And we have some heartbreaking news regarding one of our young offensive linemen whose journey in New Orleans might unfortunately be coming to a very premature end. This is the kind of roster shakeup that changes the dynamic of training camp, and we are going to break down every single detail right here, right now. Freaking knows. Just release it. The New Orleans Saints have officially signed wide receiver Brock Steiner. Now, if that name sounds familiar to those of you who follow more than just football, it's because it should. Brock Steiner isn't just any rookie trying to make his mark. He is the son of none other than the genetic freak himself, WWE Hall of Famer Scott Steiner. That's right, the Steiner family legacy has officially arrived in New Orleans. Brock came into the rookie minicamp this past weekend on a tryout basis, essentially a prove-it weekend where the odds are usually stacked against you. But apparently, the slam he brought to the field was too much for the coaching staff to ignore. All it took was a few days of showing his speed, his hands, and that undeniable Steiner grit for the Saints brass to say, we need this guy on the 90-man roster. Rex Steiner is a native of Woodstock, Georgia, and he brings a very interesting profile to the Saints wide receiver room. He played his college ball at Jacksonville State, and while his stat line might not jump off the page at first glance, you have to look at the trajectory of his career to see why Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen are taking a flyer on him. Although he was officially on the roster from 2022 to 2025, his production really exploded in the final 2 years. He recorded nearly all of his 54 career catches in 2024 and 2025, showing that he is a late bloomer who is just now hitting his stride. He finished his time with the Gamecocks with 609 total receiving yards, averaging a solid 12.1 yards per catch, and he found the end zone 7 times through the air. He even showed some versatility by scoring a rushing touchdown last season. This is a guy who understands how to use his body, much like his father and his uncle Rick Steiner did in the squared circle for decades. He's got that professional athlete DNA, and he clearly wasn't ready to trade the cleats for wrestling boots just yet. He had originally planned to follow in his father's footsteps and become a professional wrestler. But after this weekend's performance, the NFL dream is alive and well in the 504. When you think about what the Saints need right now, they need guys who are hungry. We saw what happened last year with the offense being inconsistent at times. Adding a player like Rex Steiner, who has that nothing-to-lose mentality of a tryout player, can really light a fire under the rest of the receiving corps. He's coming into a room led by Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, but after those top guys, the competition is wide open. The Saints are looking for depth, they are looking for special teams contributors, and they are looking for guys who can make plays when their number is called. Can you imagine the energy in the Superdome if Rex Steiner breaks off a long touchdown? The crowd would go absolutely wild. It's a low-risk, high-reward signing for the Saints, and honestly, who doesn't want a Steiner on their side when things get physical on the field? However, while the energy is high regarding our new wide receiver, we have to talk about the flip side of the roster moves today. And this one is a tough pill to swallow for the Who Dat Nation. You are gent. The Saints have officially placed offensive guard Nick Saldiveri on the reserve PUP list. For those who aren't familiar with the technicalities, this is essentially a season-ending move before the season has even truly begun. For the second straight year, Saldiveri's season is effectively over before it could get off the ground. This is devastating news for a young player, who many hoped would be a key piece of the offensive line rebuild. Saldiveri was a 2023 fourth-round pick out of Old Dominion, and the Saints had high hopes for him when they moved up to grab him. He had the size, the technique, and the versatility that this team desperately needs in the trenches. But the NFL can be a cruel business, and the injury bug has been biting Saldiveri hard. He hasn't seen the field in a meaningful way since 2024. He missed the entirety of last season with a knee injury he suffered during training camp, and now, here we are again, with him being moved to the reserve PUP list. This move is particularly ominous, because of where he is in his career. He turns 26 on August 14th, and his rookie contract is set to expire after this season. When a player misses 2 full seasons back-to-back due to injury, and their contract is coming to an end, the writing is often on the wall. It's highly likely that we have seen the last of Nick Saldiveri in a Saints uniform. In his NFL career, he's only played in 15 games, with just 6 starts. It's a classic case of what could have been. We know how much the Saints have struggled with offensive line depth over the last few years, especially with the uncertainties surrounding Ryan Ramczyk's health and the transitions we've seen at the tackle and guard positions. Losing a guy like Saldiveri, who was supposed to be a foundational depth piece, really puts the pressure on the rest of the unit. This roster move signals that the Saints are moving in a different direction. They cannot afford to wait for players to get healthy when the window to compete in the NFC South is wide open right now. With Clint Kubiak coming in as the new offensive coordinator, there is a whole new system being implemented. Kubiak's scheme relies heavily on athletic offensive linemen who can move in space and execute zone blocking schemes. If a player isn't on the field to learn the system and build chemistry with Derek Carr and the rest of the line, they become a liability. It's a harsh reality, but the Saints are clearly prioritizing players who are available and ready to contribute immediately. This brings us back to the overall strategy of the Saints this offseason. We are seeing a mix of high-upside gambles, like Brock Rechsteiner, and the unfortunate necessity of moving on from players who just can't stay healthy, like Nick Saldiveri. The front office is under immense pressure this year. Dennis Allen knows that he needs to produce results, and that starts with having a roster that is both talented and durable. The addition of a legacy player like Rechsteiner adds a layer of excitement and media attention, but at the end of the day, he has to produce on the field. He's going to have to fight tooth and nail to make that final 53-man roster. But if he brings half the intensity his father brought to the wrestling ring, he's going to be a fan favorite in no time. As we look ahead to training camp, the wide receiver battle is going to be one of the most closely watched competitions in New Orleans. Beyond Olave and Shaheed, we have guys like A.T. Perry, who showed flashes of brilliance last year, and now Rechsteiner entering the mix. Every rep is going to matter. Every catch is going to be scrutinized. For Rechsteiner, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. He went from thinking about a career in the WWE to catching passes in the NFL in the span of a weekend. That is the beauty of the NFL. It doesn't matter where you came from or who your father is. If you can play, you can play. On the other hand, the offensive line remains a massive question mark. With Saldiveri out, the Saints will likely be looking at the waiver wire or the remaining free agent pool to bolster their depth. You can never have enough quality linemen in this league, and the Saints are currently playing a dangerous game with their depth. We've seen how quickly a season can derail when the protection for the quarterback breaks down. Derek Carr needs a clean pocket to operate effectively, and the run game needs lanes to open up for Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams. So, Saints fans, there is a lot to process here. We have the arrival of a genetic freak in Brock Rechsteiner and the potential end of the road for Nick Saldiveri. It's a reminder of how fast things change in the NFL. One day you're a 4th-round pick with the world ahead of you, and the next, injuries have sidelined your career. One day you're a wrestling prospect, and the next, you're signing an NFL contract. We will be keeping a very close eye on how Rechsteiner performs as the offseason progresses and what the Saints do next to address the holes on the offensive line. This team is hungry, the fans are restless, and the 2024 season is shaping up to be one of the most pivotal in recent franchise history. What do you think about the Saints signing the son of a wrestling legend? Do you think Brock Rechsteiner has what it takes to make the final roster and become a contributor on Sundays? Or is this just a fun off-season story that will fade away? And how do you feel about the situation with Nick Saldiveri? Is it time for the Saints to officially move on and look for more reliable help on the offensive line? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Who Dat Nation? I want to hear your takes on these moves. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for the fastest Saints news on the web, and as always, Guillaume X Saints.